the year goes on, and often these youth even make lifelong connections with their sponsors. Many of our sponsors have been involved in the program for several years, and we would like to thank all of our sponsors for their continued support. We're going to roll right into the showmanship portion. All Catch-It-Calf participants are automatically entered into the showmanship phase of the educational experience. Showmanship is unique because it allows the exhibitors to stand out with their animals' preparedness, knowledge of the industry, and competitive spirit. A well-prepared showman spends hours in the barn working with their animal, and today is a chance to showcase all of their efforts throughout the year. All showmanship classes were broken down by age and will be showing oldest to youngest. The class winners will be given a belt buckle sponsored by the SLW Ranch. Our showmanship judge today is Kirby Hales. Kirby Hales is from Laramie, Wyoming, where he grew up raising and showing cattle, sheep, and hogs on a local, state, and national level. Kirby was a member of a two-time national champion livestock judging team at Casper College, where he received his associates in ag business. He continued on to the University of Wyoming, where he received his bachelor's in agricultural business and economics, and has since started and owns his own business, Desperado Custom Silver, specializing in handmade turquoise jewelry. The purpose of showmanship is to present the animal in a manner that will develop the most favorable impression to our judge. Showing properly is an important part of many beef projects and an extremely rewarding experience. Showmanship not only generates enthusiasm and competition within the show ring, but also teaches other valuable lessons that can be applied to everyday life. These lessons include accepting responsibility, winning graciously, losing with dignity, and learning the amount of work and determination it takes to become a winner. Within our first class of showmanship, we have from Brighton, Colorado, Emily Needham. From Cheyenne, Wyoming, Haley Cooper. From Douglas, Wyoming, Savannah Moffitt. From Kersey, Colorado, Sydney Romo Soneman. From Newcastle, Wyoming, Dustin Boyer. From Byers, Colorado, Owen Vermeer. From Kiowa, Colorado, Addison McWhirter. From Loomis, Nebraska, Garrett Scholes. From Morrill, Nebraska, Justin Wilkinson. From Byers, Colorado, Porter Schneider. And rounding out class number 1 from Minutair, Nebraska, Molly Stricker. This is your first class of showman within your Catch-It-Calf showmanship class. Also, a housekeeping announcement. We do have a cell phone that has been turned into the announcer's table. So if you're missing a cell phone, it's somewhere up here. So if you could look to make sure that you have a cell phone. If you don't, it's probably up here with me. If you can tell me exactly what it is, you can have it back. So again, if you're missing a cell phone, you or someone you know, please make your way up to the announcer's table. Thank you. As our Judge Kirby decides to continue working with our individuals here, I want to highlight some of the sponsors again of the National Western Stock Show. The Colorado Farm Show is proud to support the National Western Stock Show, and they invite you to attend the 58th Colorado Farm Show, taking place January 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Island Grove Regional Event Center in Greeley, Colorado. Colorado Farm Show brochures are available ringside or at the announcer's stand. Complete details are also online at coloradofarmshow.com. The National Western Stock Show appreciates the Colorado Farm Show's support for this year's 2024 show.
Really good set of showmen out here for the first class at Catch and Calf Showmanship. It's pretty exciting to get out here and be able to judge this today. I was being an alum of the Catch and Calf program. It's kind of fun to come full circle and be able to judge the showmanship for you guys today. I think we have an outstanding set of showmen all the way from top to bottom, and it made it really difficult to sort through because I think we have a lot of different types and kinds. For me, there's a few things that I think is critical when it comes down to the showmanship portion of it, and for one of them, a big one for me is how we hold these halters. I think that's a big portion on how we can get these calves looking to the best of their ability, and that's what showmanship's all about. Is getting these calves to look as best as possible and how we can present them the best. And for me, the young man that's going to go ahead and start out, I think in terms of the key things to get these done and get these calves presented to the best as possible, I think this young man does it the most consistently from the minute he stepped into the ring. I love his presence and how he presents himself, but that calf is always set up extremely well. He has that calf's head cocked up and always get a really good look from the side of that calf. I like the way that young man shows a lot. Young lady that comes out next, I like her presence. I love the confidence, I love the intensity, but I like how calm she is with her stick, how calm she is with that calf. One thing that puts her into second, that calf's front feet wanted to be offset every now and again. If we could get those front feet set more consistently, I think we can move up and be a top pair contemporary. The young man that sits here in third, I really like the way he shows that calf. Most of the time, we get a really good look. That calf's feet are set awfully correct. It's what works him down into third. He wants to work around on him. That calf's wanting to move around. And so every now and again we'll see those feet offset, but I love the way he shows. I love his confidence. I love the way he gets that calf's head up. I think he does a really good job from that standpoint. Young lady that comes out in fourth, in terms of the way she presents herself and the way she presents that calf, I love the way she gets out there and shows. Unfortunately, this is a team sport, and we need our partner to cooperate with us. That young lady's steer's just wanting to be too much of a wiggle worm for her today. If that one could stick, I think we could get a lot better chance at getting higher in this class. Young lady that comes out next, in terms of getting one stuck and set up, I think she does a really good job. That calf's always set up. I love the way that she gets that calf presented. It's just the way, like I mentioned earlier, the way we hold that halter is an important piece to me. I'd like us to turn that hand over. That's personal preference for me, but I think she does a good job at getting that calf set up. Young man that comes out next, I think just the calmness and patience he has with this calf, I think he does a really good job. He's super calm and collected with him. It looks like he's having a good time. He does a good job at getting this calf set up. For me, I'd just like to see just a touch more intensity. I love how calm he is. Crank up the intensity level just a notch for me, and I think we can move up. Young lady that comes out next, when she gets out by herself, I think she does a really good job at getting this calf stuck. She gets that calf's head up. She gets that calf set up really nice. We always get a good look. It's when she wants to get bunched up. We kind of got caught in the corner, and then that wanted to get that calf offset just a little bit. He wanted to not cooperate too well with her once we kind of got bunched up in the herd. But once she stands out by herself, I think this young lady does a really good job. One that comes out next. I mentioned it earlier. I think if we could crank up the intensity just a notch for me, I think we work up just a notch higher. She does a good job of staying calm and collected with his calf, getting him set up. I just like to see just a touch more intensity. And I think it's kind of the same boat as we get to these bottom three. I think if we could just see their feet placement just a notch more consistent, just a touch more intensity coming from all the rest of them, I think we could work up. But I think they all do an outstanding job top to bottom. Let's give our first class a big round of applause. Nice work.
Thank you.
Good job, buddy.
The results from the first class of Catch It Calf Showman In 11th place, Porter Schneider. 10th place, Justin Wilkinson. 9th place, Savannah Moffitt. 8th place, Emily Needham. 7th place, Haley Cooper. 6th place, Owen Vermeer. 5th place, Sydney Romo Soneman. 4th place, Molly Stricker. 3rd place, Dustin Boyer. 2nd place, Addison McWhirter. And your class winner, Garrett Scholes. At this time, we will now bring in our second class of Catch It Calf Showman. Within class number 2, from Laramie, Wyoming, Piper Henschel. From Kinnear, Wyoming, Susanna Corlett. From Austin, Colorado, Rory Lee. From Laramie, Wyoming, Jackson Cox. From Burns, Wyoming, Blair Sanchez. From Lisco, Nebraska, Brianna Yates. From Greeley, Colorado, Brooklyn Lambrecht. From Gillette, Wyoming, Daisy Shoby. From Burlington, Colorado, Efren Orlias Jr. This is your second class of Catch It Calf Showman. Once again, the classes have been divvied up and divided based on age of exhibitor.
You want to go one more lap?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we'll do the same deal. You can all cut this thing. Okay, pull forward and we'll snake around, make an end. Let it come right after. Go ahead and bring yours next. Yep, just go in right next to him. Yes, sir. And if you want to pull forward and you pull in her spot, you're going to be 1, 2. Another extremely competitive set of showmen out here. I think the top three get awfully competitive, and I think are extremely similar in their kind in the way they show their steers. A young lady that's going to go ahead and win, that's the one that's the most consistent out here in the ring. I think she does an outstanding job getting this steer set up quickly and efficiently and getting a really good look at him. She knows where that steer's feet need to be placed so that we can get the best look from the side. That steer is always presented very well with his head set up, getting his top down. I think she does a great job of getting that steer presented. Young lady that comes in second, I think most of the time we get a really good look at that steer. I think she does a good job of staying active with that steer's feet. He's kind of wanting to wiggle around on her just a little bit, but she does a good job recognizing it and correcting it and getting a really good look. Every now and again that steer will want to get just a notch too bunched up. If we could stretch him out every now and again, I think we could move up just a notch, but I think she does a really good job of staying active, knowing where that steer's at, and correcting some issues. Young lady that comes in third, right off the bat, she hit me real hard. I love the intensity that she comes in with. I think she does a really good job of keeping that steer's head up and staying active with him. There was a while there towards the end that steer wanted to be offset. That's kind of what works her down just a notch. I think we need to stay proactive in watching those feet, look down and look back up, and keeping a pattern of that so that we can get that steer corrected. But I think once she gets that steer stuck, she does an outstanding job of it. Young lady that comes out next, I like just how calm and relaxed she is with this steer. She does a really good job getting that steer set. One thing for me, I'd like us to get just a notch closer to that steer's head in the way we hold his chain. I think the higher we go with it, the tougher it is to get control of that steer and to get his head up in the proper position to get the best look at him. But I think just in terms of getting feet set and staying calm with that steer, she does a really good job. Young lady that comes next, in terms of her position and the way she presents herself, I think she does a very good job. She's calm, relaxed, but you can tell she's out here to play. She's got an awfully intense look to her. I think it's the way that we show this steer. I think we could correct some things, get that steer's feet set just in a notch more correct position, and I think we could do just a notch better. But I like the way she presents herself. Just if we could get that steer set right, I think we can move up. Young lady that comes out next, I think we're kind of in the same boat with that situation. She's intense, but yet she's still calm and relaxed. We just need to get that steer's feet set in the right position, but I think she does a really good job in the way she handles herself. Young man that comes out next, I really like the way he gets that steer's head up. He's very calm in the way he presents him. He's very calm in the way he goes around the ring. If we could notch up the intensity just a bit, I think you get along just a notch better with me, but I think he does a very good job. Young man that comes out, I like the way he presents himself and gets that steer's head up. We need to get those steers' feet set right. That steer, most of the time when I looked at him, wanted to be opposite with those back feet. We need to square those front feet up just a notch. But I like the way he stays calm and gets that steer's head up. I think that's a big key to it. Young lady that rounds out the class. I love how calm and relaxed she is. She's very patient with the way this steer's wanting to act with her. I think when we get him on the standstill and on the profile, we need to get that steer's feet in the right position, and that steer wants to hunch his back up just a notch. If we could use our stick to help us with that, get that steer's top down just a notch. But a good set all the way from top to bottom. Let's give him a round of applause.
Your results from the second class of your Catch It Calf Showmanship. In 9th place, Daisy Sosby. 8th place, Ephraim Ornlies Jr. 7th place, Jackson Cox. 6th place, Brianna Yates. 5th place, Rory Lee. 4th place, Piper Henschel. 3rd place, Susanna Cordlet. 2nd place, Brooklyn Lambrecht. And your class winner is Blair Sanchez. Coming into the ring at this time is now class number 3 of Showmanship. We have entries from Cooper Spurlock of Calhan, Colorado. From Two Buttes, Colorado, Clayton Sparks. From Minnetonka, Nebraska, Madison Engel. From Watkins, Colorado, Nelson Miller. From Laramie, Wyoming, David Lehman. From Pierce, Colorado, Madeline Rhine. From Fort Lupton, Colorado, Jadalyn Frazier. From Black Hawk, Colorado, Ezekiel Bloom. And your last exhibitor in class number 3 from La Junta, Colorado, Colby Bruna. This concludes your class number 3 of Catch It Calf Showman. And exhibitors, if you want to get an edge in your showmanship, you can join Kirk Steerwalt, the renowned Andes livestock grooming educator, for a live demonstration in the Beef Palace Auction Arena. Kirk will be explaining the latest techniques to create award-winning results with your Andes tools. Please check your schedule for list of dates and times to join Kirk Steerwalt. Once again, our judge for today's showmanship phase of the Catch It Calf program is none other than Mr. Kirby Hales. He's from Laramie, Wyoming, where he grew up raising and showing cattle, sheep, and hogs on a local, state, and national level. Kirby was a member of a 2-time national champion livestock judging team at Casper College, where he received his associates in ag business. He continued on at the University of Wyoming, where he received his bachelor's in ag business and economics. He has since started his own business, Desperado Custom Silver, specializing in handmade turquoise jewelry. Him and his brother are judging today's contest. They are also products of a Catch It Calf program. Kirby and his brother Colby credit a lot of what they do to the Catch It Calf program, so we appreciate our judges for today's contest. Colby will be judging the live placings as soon as we conclude our showmanship phase of the Catch It Calf show.
Another really good class is Showman out here, and before I start into talking to him, I'd like to thank the National Western Stock Show and the Catch a Calf program for giving me the opportunity to come out here and sort through your showmanship. Like I mentioned earlier, it's very humbling to come out here and come full circle with the Catch a Calf program, and to be able to do it with my brother makes it even more special. I think the Catch a Calf program does so much for these kids, giving them the opportunity to grow not only in the cattle industry, but the agricultural industry as a whole. Along with all the other opportunities it presents. Let's get back to the showmanship here. The young man that's going to go ahead and win here in the pink shirt, I think he hit it hard right off the bat. He was in here to play and win before he even came in through the gate. Young man was extremely intense. He was very good at keeping that steer's head up, and he was the most efficient and I guess the cleanest in the way he got that calf set up. There's every now and again he'd need to pull that calf out and take him a circle, but I don't necessarily have a problem with that because that's given him the opportunity to get that calf presented to the best of his ability. If he has to pull him out of line to get that best look, I can appreciate that. He's actively trying, and I think he does a great job of getting that steer stuck. Young lady that comes in second, I think she is extremely calm, extremely relaxed with this calf, and it's evident in the way it translated into her steer. That steer's really relaxed. That calf never took a wrong step the whole time. I just like to crank up the intensity just a notch. That's a personal preference for me. It works for you and your calf. He's always set up. She does a really good job getting him presented, and especially for just a notch shorter fronted steer, she does a good job of getting the most out of that one's front end. I think she does a really good job of giving me the best look of her calf. Young lady that comes in third, when that calf wants to stand for her and give her the proper space, I think she does an outstanding job of getting that calf presented. Gets that steer's head up, gets his feet set right. I think where she works her way down to third, that calf's wanting to push on her just a notch and wanting to cram her with some of the other ones. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a team sport, but I think she does a good job when that calf wants to work for her, getting that calf presented right. Young man that comes out in fourth. I had this young man all the way from first to fifth and back up. I think he does a really good job of staying calm and collected with this calf. That's another one that always was in spot, always had his feet set correctly. Again, I'd like to crank up the intensity on that one. I think we just get a little bit too relaxed in the way we handle this calf. I crank up the intensity just a bit, but I think he does a good job of presenting that calf by himself. Young lady that comes out next, I like the way she shows that calf in terms of her presence, in terms of her, I guess how relaxed she is with that calf, but she still has intensity there. That calf just wants to get a little splayed out on us sometimes. If we could get some feet set correctly more often, I think she works her way up, but I love the way she presents that calf in her own right. Young man that comes out next, I think he's another one that's really relaxed in the way he handles his calf, does a really good job of keeping that calf's head up. It's in terms of our feet placement. If we could be more consistent in the way we have that steer's back feet set, I think we work his way up. But I love the way he just handles that calf and how calm and relaxed he is with him. I think it's the same one with the young man that come out next. Same type of situation. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we're doing a great job of just keeping relaxed with these calves, especially in a ring that has so many people around. It's a new environment. We're keeping these calves calm. We're keeping these calves relaxed. If we could just keep feet placement in the correct position, I think we move our way up. Young man that comes out next. I like the way he gets that calf's head jacked up. It helps that he's a taller gentleman, so that helps him get that calf's head up. If we could be more intense in the way we do so, show me just a little bit more intensity, and then be more active in the way we get that calf's feet set, I think we could work our way up. But a good job to him getting that calf's head up. Young man that rounds out the class. I love the way he stays calm with his calf, especially if the way he's wanting to act for him today. That calf's kind of wanting to jump around and push on him, but a good job in his own right. Let's give them all a big round of applause for all the exhibitors in the Catch a Calf program. Thank you again.
Your results from class number 3, the final class of showmanship. In 9th place, Ezekiel Bloom. 8th place, David Lehman. 7th place, Nelson Miller. 6th place, Clayton Sparks. 5th place, Madeline Ryan. 4th place, Colby Bruna. 3rd place, Madison Engel. 2nd place, Jadalyn Frazier. And your class winner is Cooper Spurlock. At this time, we will now move into the live placing phase of our Catch It Calf show. Today, there are 4 classes, which have been divided by the weights of the calves. The average weight of the 29 steers was 1,170 pounds. The steers are all Hereford steers purchased from Day Ranch in Meadow, Texas. Lining up the steers is our judge, Colby Hales. We did mention before that his brother Kirby was judging the show for the showmanship phase. Colby hails from Casper, Wyoming, where he works as a livestock judging coach and agriculture instructor at Casper College. Colby also works as a purebred sale representative for Superior Livestock Marketing, as well as a livestock auctioneer. As a student, Colby attended Casper College and competed on the livestock judging team. From there, he attended Colorado State University, where he also competed on the livestock judging team and received his bachelor's degree in ag education. Following graduation from CSU, Colby attended the University of Wyoming to attain his master's degree in animal science and also worked as the assistant livestock judging team coach. After college, he taught high school agriculture until his present positions. Colby will be evaluating the steers for muscling, finish, and their structural soundness. These are traits of economic importance to the beef cattle industry today. National Western Stock Show is providing premium monies and ribbons to the top steers in each of the classes. Class winners are receiving plaques sponsored by the Peebles family. In class number 1, we have an entry, Savannah Moffitt, with a sponsor of North Denver Animal Clinic and the Adams County Farm Bureau. We have an entry from Jackson Cox with a sponsor of John and Sally Corkle and Tima McIntosh. We have an entry of Clayton Sparks with a sponsor of Trina and Kirby Clayman and G.H. Phipps. We have an entry from Brooklyn Lambrecht with a sponsor of Mark Arndt and the Colorado Elks Association. We have an entry from David Lehman. Sponsor is Eric Anderson. And rounding out class number 1, we have Piper Henschel with a sponsor of the Reynolds family. The weight range on these animals range from 718 pounds to 1,043 pounds. This is your completed class number 1 of the Catch It Calf live placings. So traditionally after the live classes, we will have an award show, but that award show has been moved to tomorrow. So 2 calves will be announced as the overall Grand and Reserve Grand champions of the National Western Stock Show's Catch It Calf program. They will be announced at tomorrow's awards and breakfast, and they will then be qualified for the National Western Stock Show's auction of the Junior Livestock Champions held on Friday, January 19th. These 2 calves, which will be designated Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Catch It calves, will be selected using a point system which includes the record book, sponsor relations, interview, production, the live placing, the showmanship classes, and deadlines met with a total possible score of 160 points. So again, 2 top calves and 2 top individuals will be announced as the overall Grand and Reserve champions at the awards breakfast tomorrow for the National Western Stock Show's Catch It Calf program.
Well, folks, what a cool deal. What a great deal. I can tell you selfishly, really quick, this is really, really neat for me. As my brother said, we're both alumni of the Catch a Calf program. We get a judge at the National Western on the same day, the same time of a show that definitely had a major part in our upbringing. And so I guess what I'm getting at is yes, from a selfish perspective, it's really cool. But this isn't about me. Young people, I hope you listen to me when I say this building is really, really special, really special. And so I hope you can take in everything throughout the day. Make sure you appreciate this opportunity. Good grab, good grab. But a really special deal. I've got some more that I darn sure want to say here a little later on, but going through these steers, what a good first class, and a really good first class, and a great class winner. Not only the young lady get him back in a hurry, but that's a good steer. I think that calf, just in terms of balance and his structure and his look, I like a lot of things about him, and he's still muscular, he's still square. That's a good market animal that the young lady's done a really good job of getting prepared here as a lightweight market steer here in the Catch a Calf program. I really like the steer in second here too. Just his body, his depth, just his doability. I think a good kind of a steer that actually has got a pretty good upgrade there in terms of his top shape running down his back and over his loin. Is he quite as shapely right there from behind in terms of his quarter and his stifle? No, he's not. And that steer's probably got a little more chest and a little more crest right over the top of his top side of his neck. But 2 good cattle up here on the top end of this class. I congratulate both of those young ladies. Young man steer that's going to come here in third, really shapely kind of a steer. I like his width that he's got from behind. I think just a good kind of a market animal. Is he done yet? No, probably not. He needs a little more time. And then on top of it, he's a little rounder built. He's a little rounder there out of his hip and a little weaker right there behind his shoulder. But still a good steer, darn sure deserving of being within the top 3 here. Young man steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Another good, deep-bodied, easy feeding kind of a steer. I like, again, just his doability. Once we get right in behind that steer, that's where I think we could power him up just a little bit. Need a stick. See if we can hook it. We'll finish talking this class here really quick, and then we'll get that steer caught. But young man here in fourth. I wish we just had a little more muscle there from behind. That's what ends up setting him fourth. But again, a good steer. Young man steer that's going to come next. Really stout-featured, big bone kind of a steer. I wish we could just make him a little softer there through his rib and back through his flank. It kind of throws him out of balance there just a little bit from the side. But young man, congratulations on completing the Catch Calf project. Good luck with the results tomorrow morning. And young lady's little guy here that's going going to come out next. Young lady, I feel for you, because I actually think you have a very nice steer. That guy, I think he is really good looking. That's a neat prospect kind of a steer. The reason he is where he is because of exactly what I just said, his prospect steer. I wish he was more of a market animal today, but that's a good steer, a good calf that she's done a good job with. So folks, throughout the day, this might be some of these young people's one and only time to show at the National Western. And so with that, if you would please help me make this very memorable. After every class, give them a big round of applause.
Your results for the first class of live placings: in 6th place, Savannah Moffitt; 5th place, Jackson Cox; 4th place, David Lehman; 3rd place, Clayton Sparks; 2nd place, Piper Henschel; and your class winner is Brooklyn Lambrecht. At this time, we will now bring in class number 2 of our live placings. We have Madeline Ryan with a sponsor of Dr. John Matsushima and the Betcher Foundation. We have entry Brianna Yates with a sponsor of John Brown and the Hawkins family. We have an entry from Garrett Scholes with a sponsor of Mike and Eve Pugh. We have Owen Vermeer with a sponsor. Owen's sponsor is Flying Diamond Ranch, Evergreen Elks, and the Central City Elks. We have an entry Porter Schneider with the sponsor of Sue Anschutz Rogers and the Denver Ag and Livestock Club. We have an entry from Cooper Spurlock with a sponsor of Excel Energy and the Flying Diamond Ranch. And our last exhibitor in class number 2 is Justin Wilkinson with a sponsor of Ron Carpenter, the Colorado Elks Association, David Webster, and Adstrom Farms. This completes class number 2. We have a weight range on class number 2 of 1063 to 1096. Any sponsors that want to take pictures with the exhibitors, we will be doing so, and we have time slots available for you to make your way down to the backdrop with the exhibitors. So any sponsors, if you want your pictures taken, it is a good memento for all of the exhibitors and the sponsors. So sponsors and families, if you would like to take pictures at the backdrop, you are welcome to do so. We appreciate the 2024 National Western Stock Show official photographers, the Legacy Livestock Imaging crew. So again, sponsors and families and exhibitors, if you would like pictures, you can do so at the backdrop. A schedule announcement for you Catch It Calf exhibitors and parents. The awards breakfast will start tomorrow morning at 7:30 at the Smokehouse. So again, awards breakfast starting at 7:30 at the Smokehouse. The awards portion of the breakfast will begin at 8:30, but for all of exhibitors, please make yourself available at 7:30 at the Smokehouse. We will have the awards breakfast to announce all of our awards for this year's contest.
Another good class here that I think we could make a couple different arguments, and those arguments would probably be right. The one thing I am pretty confident on here is our class winner. I think our class winner, that's a good steer here once again. One thing that I wish we could change in him is relax the angle to his shoulder just a little bit and put just a little more shape there in terms of his quarter and his stifle. But that steer's got more than enough width from behind, a great big top in him, and I think his big advantage is just his balance and proportionality and look from the side. I think he just looks like a good fat steer, and I understand we're still playing in the 1,100 pounds here, but again, I think that's just a quality beef animal that he's got muscle, he's got shape, he's got substance, a good representative here to win this particular class. Young man steer that's going to go ahead and be second. I like that guy quite a bit just in regards to structure. That's the main reason he gets to play up here is, to me, he's sounder structured, he's more comfortable, he's more flexible than our class winner. A good growing, kind of high performing kind of a steer that I think still has some shape and still has some power. Big thing that he ends up being second is that steer's just a little hollower bodied. I think he needs just a shade more just softness there through his forerib and back through his heart and flank. But again, a good steer there. Darn sure once again deserving of being amongst the top two here within this class. Young lady steer that's going to come next. For some people, he probably does move up a spot because he's bigger ribbed, he's easier doing. doing. That steer has got a great turn there to his upper rib. I like the turn to his lower body. A steer that certainly has muscle. I guess the big reason I end up putting him third is to me he's a little quicker in terms of his pattern, a little quicker maturing kind of a steer that's got a little more crest. And then on top of it, I wish we could flex up his hind leg there just a little bit, or just a little bit different. But again, a good beef steer, a good moderate beef steer that's good bodied, he's good ribbed and muscular. Young lady steer that's going to come next, I like his length of body. I like that steer's performance and the length up through his front end. A steer that's plenty comfortable there in terms of his structure. I guess the big thing with him is we just need more muscle in him all the way through. He handles just a little sharper there, right directly behind his shoulder. He needs to be a little more powerful there, going right directly away in his upper hip and down through his stifle. But again, a nice steer there for the young lady. Young lady steer here that comes next, strictly from the side. I like that steer a lot. I think that's a steer that's really deep and easy doing there in terms of just the shape and turn to his lower body, the depth of his body. I think just a good looking steer here from the side. Once we get in behind him, once again, I wish we could just power him up there all the way through. He's a little narrower there in terms of his upper hip. He's flatter in the shape down his top in terms of his upper rib as well. But again, a nice project for the young lady, no doubt. Young man that's going to go ahead and come out next, another good feeding kind of a steer that's just a little off there in terms of his balance. He's a little straighter there in terms of his shoulder. A steer that, again, could just be shaped up all the way through. And then the young man steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Another steer that young man's done a good job of getting his hair right. He's very, very well presented. A steer that I wish we could change the shape of his feet. He gets a little long-toed for me. And then on top of it, just a little plain in the shape directly behind his shoulder. I wish we could change him up in regards to balance. But again, another nice class of catch a calves. Let's go ahead and give those kids a nice hand as well.
Your results from class number 2 in the lives placings. In 7th place, Porter Schneider. 6th place, Owen Vermeer. 5th place, Madeline Ryan. 4th place, Brianna Yates. 3rd place, Justin Wilkinson. 2nd place, Cooper Spurlock. And your class winner is Garrett Scholes. Coming into the ring at this time is now class number 3. Within this class, we have a weight range of 1110 to 1152. We have an entry from Madison Engel with the sponsor of Bruce Smart and the Colorado Elks. We have Colby Bruna with a sponsor of Idaho Springs Elks and Golden Elks. We have Emily Needham with a sponsor of the National Western Stock Shows Volunteers. We have an entry from Daisy Sosby with a sponsor of Stacked Lazy 3 Ranch. We have Sydney Romo Soneman with a sponsor of Dick and Sharon Lynch, Don and Cindy Fredrickson, and Evergreen, and the Central City Elks. We have an entry from Dustin Boyer with a sponsor of Shaw Resources. We have entry Susanna Cordlet with a sponsor of Rex Emmons of the Colorado Elks. And rounding out the class number 3, we have Rory Lee with a sponsor of Mr. Kenny Burns of the Colorado Elks and the Arvada Elks. This completes class number 3 of the live placings. The National Western Stock Show is not possible without our sponsors. A couple sponsors include Sullivan Show Supply. Sullivan Supply is a family-owned and operated company founded back in 1989. As the innovative leader in livestock show supplies, Sullivan Supply has kept the values of hard work, family ties, and quality products at its core. Sullivan Supply is proud to service the livestock industry and wishes all the exhibitors at the National Western Stock Show the best of luck. Also, John Deere is the official agriculture and turf equipment provider of the National Western Stock Show. You can visit your local John Deere dealer for great deals now and always. Remember, nothing runs like a deer. Once more, we'll mention that if any sponsors want to take pictures, please do so at the backdrop with your exhibitors and families. So again, if your individual is not in the ring, you can definitely get in line to get yourself pictures taken over there with Legacy Livestock Imaging. They are the official sponsor and livestock photographer of the 2024 National Western Stock Show.
Well, I apologize for taking a little more time here on this particular class. I think this one gets just a little dicier, and especially once we get down in 3, 4, and 5, and honestly even into 6, I think those are a couple arguments that we can have. These top two, though, I'm very confident in having in the top two. The big difference between the two, or I guess where they're similar, is both cattle I think are pretty muscular. Both cattle handle pretty well. Both cattle are good ribbed and good bodied. The big advantage to our class winner is he's sounder structured. He's more laid back in his shoulder. He's got more bend and comfort and flexibility to his knee. That's his big advantage. Is to me that steer's just more comfortable once we get him set in motion. A good pair of them up here on the top end, and even the one in second here. Again, he is big boned. He's stout featured. That steer has got some muscle. He has power, no doubt. Up front though, that steer's a little more rock forward there in his shoulder. I wish we could set him back and relax him there in his knee. That's the big separating factor there between those two steers, but two high quality ones here on the top end. Congratulations to both of you. Young lady steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Another steer that I like his performance. I like his length of body. Just a good kind of a steer in my opinion. He's not there yet. I wish we could advance him just a little more there in regards to his finish. That steer's just a little barer there, right there over his rib, but I still think he's got enough within this class, and I like his softness, I like his doability, and that steer's look that he's got up there through his front end. He still looks like a youthful kind of a show steer, which he should, but that is, I wish where we could change him is just push him just a little further there in regards to his cover, but a good kind of a steer there to have on the top end. Beautifully presented dark red steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Young lady's done a great job of getting this steer ready. I think, gosh, he just has a really, really good look there from the side. His big problem and why he doesn't stay towards the top end of this class is, to me, he's still just a little prospecty. That steer's still just a little baby there in terms of his look. I wish we could make him just a little softer right there through the center part of his body and back through his flank. And I think even lengthen his hip out there just a little bit. I like that steer in regards to his muscle and his shape. He's got substance. He has power. I wish we could just make him just a little fatter, but a good kind of a steer there once again. Young lady steer that comes next. And young lady, I'm glad you got another whack at it. Congratulations on finishing this year. I think that's absolutely fantastic, and you did it with a really nice steer. A good-bodied, easy-feeding steer that in relation to that pair that we just talked about, this steer actually is just a little further along in regards to his fat cover. Now, with that, he is a little quicker there in terms of his maturity pattern. He's a little shorter cannon. That steer is a little moderate for this judge personally, but I want you to leave here understanding I think you've got a good project that you've done a good job with. Congratulations finishing this year. Young man steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Big, extended kind of a calf there that's really raw in terms of his muscle shape there from behind. Once you get your hands on that steer, he's the plainest of those three that we just talked about, right directly behind his shoulder, down his top and over his loin. That's where I wish we could alter him. And he's actually a little barer right there over his ribs, and what a guy would guess. He's a little harsh there. That's where I wish we could alter him. Young lady steer that's going to go ahead and come next. Big-bodied, good-doing kind of a steer. We need to alter him from a structure standpoint. Too upright off both ends. We need to make him more comfortable. Young lady steer that's going to come next, a lot the same story. Just a little tight moving and just a little stilty there off both ends. If we could flex him up just a little bit, I think we can have a shot at moving him up. But once again, another great class. These guys deserve just as big of a round of applause as all the rest of the classes. Let's give them a nice hand.
Your results of class number 3 of the Catch It Calf live placings. In 8th place, Daisy Sosby. 7th place, Sydney Romo Soneman. 6th place, Colby Bruna. 5th place, Emily Needham. 4th place, Susanna Corlett. 3rd place, Rory Lee. 2nd place, Madison Engel. And your class winner is Dustin Boyer. Coming into the ring at this time is our 4th and final class for your live placings. Within this class, we have a weight range of 1158 to 1336. We have an entry from the following individuals: Ezekiel Bloom with a sponsor of Vineyard Family. We have Haley Cooper with a sponsor of Daryl Kristen and Jim Curtis of Kiwanis Club of Lakewood, and Mark and Carolyn Neely. We have an entry from Jadalyn Frazier with a sponsor of the DeBacker family. We have Blair Sanchez with a sponsor of Joe Adams. We have Molly Stricker with a sponsor of Tom and Kathy Koslecki and Carolyn and Mark Neely. We have Nelson Miller with a sponsor of Peyton Huss, Dylan Mortensen, and Brett Ginther. We have Addison McWhirter with a sponsor of Vogel and Associates and Rewa Ranch. And our last individual within class number 4 is Ephraim Ornelius Jr. with a sponsor of Kent Vance of the Colorado Elks. Some other sponsors that couldn't make it here today would be the Mark Moen of the Wyoming's Elks, the Norgren family, and Rob DeLine. We appreciate all of our sponsors for this year's Catch It Calf program. And once again, this is the last and final class of our lives placings. 2 calves once again will be announced as the overall Grand and Reserve champion, National Western Stock Show Catch It Calves, at tomorrow's awards breakfast. That breakfast starts at 7:30 at the Smokehouse. The awards banquet presentations will be beginning at sharply 8:30 a.m. Those calves will then be qualified for the National Western Stock Show's auction of the Junior Livestock Champions held Friday, January 19th. The 2 calves, which will be designated Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Catch It calves, will be selected using a point system. That point system includes placings here in the ring, record book, sponsor relations, the interview portion, which was held earlier, the production, showmanship, and deadlines met with a total possible score of 160 points. We also want to thank our judges for today's contest, Kirby, which we mentioned before, and his brother Colby, which is judging the live placings in the ring right now. Colby Hales is from Casper, Wyoming, where he works as a livestock judging coach and agricultural instructor at Casper College. Colby also works as a purebred sales representative for Superior Livestock Marketing, as well as a livestock auctioneer. As a student, Colby attended Casper College and competed on the livestock judging team. From there, he attended Colorado State University, where he also competed on the livestock judging team and received his bachelor's in ag education. Following graduation from CSU, Colby attended the University of Wyoming to attain his master's degree in animal science and also worked as the assistant livestock judging team coach. After college, he taught in high school ag until his present position. We appreciate our judge for today's live placing, Mr. Colby Hales.
Well, here in our final class, a good class, and I'm going to get right back to them here in just a second. But going back to kind of what I talked about earlier, young people, again, I really, really hope that you've enjoyed your experience here at the National Western. Again, I think this building is so special, and I don't know how many of you really know this, and I don't personally even know this, but we're nearing the final years of being in the stadium arena here, and so there's a lot of history in these green bleachers, and there's a lot of history in this ring. And so you guys get to be a part of something that's really, really neat out here in the stadium arena. The other thing that I think is really important here, too, is make sure you appreciate the relationships you get to build. Because something that I think is really, really neat is your sponsor relations, I think is cool. That lady right there, Jo Adams, was my sponsor many years ago. She was also my brother's sponsor. She is now a lifelong family friend of ours. And so I think that is so cool. So, Jo, it is an honor and a pleasure to know you. This is very, very neat that me and my brother get to judge while you're still a sponsor here. So Bud and Jo Adams, we thank them a great deal. Thank you to my family for coming and watching and being supportive. They're going to be here for 2 days. I get to judge the South Devons tomorrow, and so I appreciate them coming. My girlfriend's family back at home taking care of the dogs. Sincerely appreciate that for the opportunity to come here and do this. And also big thank you to my judging team too. They're on their way to Oklahoma City to judge, and so if they're watching, thank you to the judging team there in Oklahoma City for allowing me to do this, and also to Dr. Burkett for letting them do that. But going through these cattle here, I wanted to say a quick couple thank yous, but good top pair of steers here. I think the young lady steer that's going to go ahead and win. The big question between those two is if you say this one up front has enough muscle, then he absolutely wins based on quality, because I think his look and his balance is better. And to me, I say he's got enough muscle. He's got enough shape running down his back behind his shoulder. And to me, his big advantage is just structure and comfort level, and then his look and balance there from the side. He's smoother shoulder. The angle to his shoulder is more appropriate. That's why he's going to go ahead and win. Now, no doubt about it, young man, you did a fantastic job getting this steer fed. There is a lot of beef in this steer here in second. He is great big topped. That steer is big ended, extremely powerful, very, very massive. For a lot of people that like him a little stouter than I do, you probably switch this pair, and hey, I get it. For this judge personally, I think he's a little rounder shouldered. I think that steer's probably got just a little more crest right to his neck, and then just the angle to his shoulder and the functionality of his front skeleton. I wish we could change up just a little bit. But boy, two good steers here on the front end of this class. And a young lady that's going to wind up in third. Big, stout, featured rascal here that I think's got a really, really nice look. Again, he's a little quicker patterned. He's a little more moderate for this judge. And on top of it, he's a little plainer shaped. But again, a good steer and a good project for the young lady. Congratulations on completing the catch calf program. Young lady steer that's going to come next. Big, big back shape and a big turn right behind his shoulder. Really shapely kind of a steer here. Structure is what sets him in fourth. That steer gets a little more upright there in terms of his shoulder. That steer's a little tighter there off both ends, and I wish we could make him truer in terms of his base width and the power that he's got going right away. Young lady steer that's going to come next. Young lady, you've done a fantastic job on this steer in a really deep class, the deepest class that we've had so far here today. Beautifully presented, a really nice look. That steer's shallower back through his flank. He's tighter there through his rear body. A steer that I wish we could advance there in terms of his finish. Same story for the young lady that's going to go ahead and come next. A steer that is beautifully presented. Young lady's done a great job with the steer throughout the year. The catch calf deal, sometimes it's kind of luck of the draw, and some of these guys don't feed real great. This is one of those steers that looks like he didn't feed just quite as good as he needed to. He's tighter there through his body, a steer that's a little barer there in regards to his finish. A good-bodied, good rib kind of a steer here that's going to go ahead and come next. I like that steer in that particular regard. A steer that structure-wise, we need to make him more comfortable and just more flexible. Same deal, make him just a little more powerful as we go right away. Same story for the young man steer that's going to go ahead and come next. A good feeding kind of a steer that's just a little frailer featured. We need more muscle, but another really good class. If you would please, folks, give those kids a nice round of applause. Thank you for having me tonight.
The results for the fourth and final class of the Lives placings. In 8th place, Ezekiel Bloom. 7th place, Nelson Miller. 6th place, Molly Stricker. 5th place, Haley Cooper. 4th place, Addison McWhirter. 3rd place, Jadalyn Frazier. 2nd place, Ephraim Ornelius Jr. And your class winner is Blair Sanchez. Once again, 2 calves will be announced as the overall Grand and Reserve Grand Champion National Western Stock Show's Catch It Calves at tomorrow's awards breakfast, and they will be qualified for the National Western Stock Show's auction of the Junior Livestock Champions held on Friday, January 19th. That breakfast starts at 7:30 at the Smokehouse. The awards banquet portion will begin at 8:30 sharply. These 2 calves that will be selected will be designated as the Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Catch It calves. They will be selected using a point system, which includes the record book, sponsor relations, interview, production, live placing, showmanship, deadlines met, with a total possible score of 160 points. This does conclude the 2024 National Western Stock Show Catch It Calf Show. The overall Grand and Reserve Grand Champions, alongside with multiple other awards, will be announced at tomorrow's Catch It Calf Awards breakfast. Thank you to everyone in attendance today, and we appreciate you. And we will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the start of the Miniature Hereford Open Show here in the stadium.